What is up, guys? So this is going to be our trailer breakdown for The Flash, Season 4, Episode 18, titled Fury Rogue. And I don't usually do this at the beginning of the video, but I urge you to follow me on Twitter, because YouTube's subscription updates, like updating you for your subscriptions, like my videos, doesn't really work well, and Twitter does it so much better. Link is in the description to that. Also, I do daily polls on the Arrowverse and everything Arrowverse TV show / superhero movie / TV show related. So definitely follow me on Twitter to bet for those two things, and specifically the notifications, because YouTube is really screwing people over with their broken sub boxes. So definitely follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. Or if you don't have Twitter, click the notification icon next to the subscribe button. So with that in mind, let's watch the trailer.
You want me to help you move a nuclear bomb?
I know Devoe's hit us pretty hard, but winning this battle may just win us the war.
All right, get me for 24 hours, not a minute more. Let's go get our guy.
I'm gonna be running ahead of the truck.
I'll be at Star Labs. I'll be monitoring his vitals.
And I'll be reciting every prayer that Cecile's ever taught me.
How much time do we have left?
Not enough.
If he explodes, it could destroy the entire city.
The Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So, as you can tell by the trailer, the reason this episode is called Fury Rogue is because Leonard Snart is in this episode, Leonard Snart, and it's not the Earth 1 one. He died in Legends of Tomorrow Season 1, spoiler alert. It's the Earth X one from Earth X, obviously, and he actually goes by Leo Snart, and kind of goes by Citizen Cold. That's what his name is in like concept art and merchandise and what they called him in synopses, but he's never actually been called Citizen Cold on any of the shows so far. Hopefully he's called Citizen Cold in this episode, because if he isn't, that would make his name kind of obsolete, because up until now he's never been called Citizen Cold, and this is, I think, the last episode he's ever going to appear in any show, at least until further notice. Like, the actor who plays him, Weatherworth Miller, said like a while ago, right after the crossover aired, that he will be returning for like 1 or 2 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow, which he did, and then 1 or 2 episodes of The Flash, which is this episode, and it's probably just 1 episode, and then he's going to leave the Arrowverse forever. But then later he said that he might return like in the future once, if he feels like it, or if the writers really want him to. So it's possible he will return in the future, but until further notice, this is his last appearance for at least a while. So if he's not called Citizen Cold in this episode, that would be a little weird. But his return is actually pretty cool. It's been a while since we've seen him. It's been since like it's been since January, I think, or February, since we've seen him. Since Legend of Tomorrow came back for the second half of its season, it's been since then since we've seen him. And ever since then, he's been on Earth X. Probably he said he was going to propose to the Ray, and he's probably going to mention that in this episode, I'm guessing. But this episode will be all about him helping Team Flash transport a villain, or not a villain, but a person to somewhere else, which is very reminiscent of in season 1, when Barry asked in the episode, I think Rogue Air, when Barry asked Captain Cold to help the Team Flash transport all of these metahumans, I think to Lian-Yu. I think that's where they were going. And then in season 3, another episode with Snart, with King Shark, when Barry asked Snart from Earth 1 in the past to help him get the power source from the Dominators, which was in Argus Security, which is also guarded by King Shark. So there's a lot to that episode, but this is like the 3rd time they're doing something like this with Captain Cold, and the first one didn't really work out. The second one did. So, and this is not even Captain Cold, this is Citizen Cold, so he's definitely not going to betray Team Flash. He's definitely going to help them, obviously, and it's just that they're kind of reusing storylines with Captain Cold or Citizen Cold coming back and helping Team Flash transport somebody to another place, or help him get something, because they've already done that twice before, and I feel like those episodes are very similar, and this episode might be just as similar. So going off the trailer, it seems like the person that they're actually transporting to somewhere else, I don't really know where. Maybe it's Lian-Yu again. I don't really know why it would be that. Maybe just because the Thinker can't get there. Maybe if I were them, I would definitely put him in a different dimension. The reason they're doing this is probably to hide him so that Devoe doesn't get him, because I'm pretty sure that Fallout, this guy, is the last bus meta that Devoe has not gotten. Because of the last episode, he got Ralph's powers, he got Null's powers, he got the Folder Man's powers, and every other character who was in the pipeline, every single other main villain of the week that Team Flash defeated and locked up, Devoe got their powers. So I think The only bus meta he has not gotten the powers of yet is Fallout, and I definitely think he will get Fallout's powers, and I don't know why he would want Fallout's powers. Probably something to do with the Enlightenment. Maybe he's actually going to try to nuke the city, which would be 2 in 1 year, which is kind of insane. But I don't really know why he would need Fallout's powers of the nuclear thing. But he might get it. He probably will get it. Usually when they set up a villain who's trying to get things, like Thanos trying to get the Infinity Stones, he's definitely gonna get all of them, because if he doesn't, that would kind of feel like a cop out, or something like Mullis. Not him getting something, but the Legends getting all the totems. If they somehow defeated Mullis without any of the totems, that would kind of feel like a cop out. So, or not all the totems, I mean. So I definitely think that this is very similar with the Thinker. He's almost definitely going to get the powers of all of the bus metas, and then Team Flash, who will probably be just Barry at that point, will have to defeat him. The reason I think it's just Barry is because we saw in the last episode Ralph died, in quotations. I don't think he's dead. And then Killer Frost died, like she lost her powers. And now Vibe has this side story of him joining this thing on Earth 19, and maybe something's gonna happen to him. I definitely think that they're doing something similar to what Arrow's doing, with they're shrinking down the team, because in one episode we lost half of the field members of the team, Killer Frost and Elongated Man. Now all that's left is Flash and Vibe. So it's very possible that they're leading to a confrontation between the Thinker and the Flash, with just the two of them. And in that case scenario, I think that if he uses his Flash time powers, it will be a very easy battle to win. But if he doesn't, which he probably won't, because that would just be too convenient, maybe it's just something he can't do very often, they really need to explain that. That episode made him and the rest of the speedsters just the most overpowered people in the world. You could slow down time and still run at super speed. There's no way anybody could beat you. So they have to explain something like he can only do that once a year, or any speedster can only do that once a year, or something like that. So that would be a convenient way to explain it, but there's really no other way, because as of this point, last episode, for instance, he could have just annihilated the Thinker using Flashpoint, and then any episode after that, he could just annihilate the Thinker using Flash. But if I said Flashpoint, I meant Flash Time, using Flash Time. So it really makes them overpowered. I love that episode, I did, but the rest of the season just doesn't make sense because of it, so they just need to explain it. It's not really a problem if they just explain it. On screen or off screen, they just need to explain it. But the battle between Barry and the Thinker is probably what they're leading to, just those two, and we'll see what we get from that. But I definitely think that Devoe will either get Fallout's powers in this episode, or he won't get them at all. That's actually not true. I'm just predicting that he will get Fallout's powers in this episode. You do see that Devoe is in this episode, so that's almost definitely what's going to happen. Team Flash will almost definitely fail in this episode. Something that bothers me about this episode, or about this trailer, or at least about how the trailer portrays the episode, because who knows, maybe that this storyline with Citizen Cold won't happen until like 15-20 minutes into the episode, but something that really bothers me about how this trailer portrays the episode is that it doesn't seem like they're grieving Ralph at all. I seem to remember in like every death scene and every episode where somebody dies, the episode after that, they grieve the character. Like there's a whole episode about them accepting the death of the character, and it doesn't seem like this episode, it doesn't seem the characters like are even acknowledging the fact that Ralph is dead. Again, who knows? They may change it. The episode may be different. This trailer might not be portraying the episode well. Maybe it just seems to be focusing on Citizen Cold, when maybe it's not a huge part of the episode. Maybe it doesn't happen until like 15-20 minutes into the episode. But looking up the trailer, it doesn't seem like they were even grieving Ralph's death at all. And even in the last episode, nobody really grieved his death except for Barry, because like nobody really ever got close to him. But like they were still friends at least like they were friends. Nobody other than like Barry talked to him most of the time, but still they were friends, and none of them grieved him except for Barry, and that kind of sucks. I don't actually think Ralph is dead. I mentioned that a couple times, but they obviously do. The characters in the show obviously do, so there's no reason they shouldn't be grieving his death, and that's something I don't like about how this trailer portrays the episode. Last thing to touch on is something that the synopsis talks about in the trailer. Doesn't have anything of that, and I'm going to read the synopsis real quick to find out what that is. So the synopsis reads, when Barry needs help transporting a dangerous matter, he calls on a new friend. For help, Citizen Cold. That's the part we already knew and already talked about from the trailer. But then the part that the trailer doesn't really show is Cisco becomes suspicious of Harry. So the thing that he's becoming suspicious of is quite clearly the thing that happened last episode with Harry using the dark matter to infect the thinking cap, to use on himself, which is the exact same thing that the Thinker did, Devoe did back in like 2014 when the actual Star Labs particle accelerator went off and released dark matter everywhere, and he tried to replicate it. But we see, and that's something that Cisco wasn't on board with, and we see the end of the episode. Harry might have affected him in a negative way, because we see Cisco saying to Harry to give him the dark matter detector, and Harry was like, what is that? And then Cisco gets it himself, and then Cisco says something like, get your head out of the clouds. So that's probably a reference or a clue to the fact that something happened to Harry. Harry might be stupid or something, and that's what this side plot with Cisco being suspicious of him is all about. And they already did something like this. Like in the last episode, a part of the synopsis was Joe becomes suspicious of Harry, and we saw that in the episode, but they just replaced the word Joe with Cisco in this episode. But that's what that side plot is all about. So anyway, let me know what you thought about the trailer in the comments down below. Let me know what you're excited for in this episode in the comments down below. Let me know if you're excited about Citizen Cold's return. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.